Now, the International Conference on Population and Development, ICPD, has opened in Nairobi with a call to world leaders to commit to ending maternal and child deaths, female genital mutilation, gender-based violence, as well as child marriages. Kenya's President Uhuru Kenyatta pledged to the over 6,000 delegates gathered in Nairobi of the summit that Kenya has agreed to end female genital mutilation by 2022. The meeting will take stock of promises made in Cairo 25 years ago to ensure sexual and reproductive health rights for all. We now cross live to our colleague Sarah Kimani, who is in Nairobi. Sarah, a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. One of the conversations that are on the sideline of the event is the rights of the LGBTQI community. What is being said in this regard?
Indeed, this is one of the controversial issues that will be discussed here. I say controversial because the Catholic Church and other religious organizations and groupings have actually pulled out of this meeting because this is one of the issues that will be discussed. But we've attended a session that was on, and what they were talking about is equal rights for even the LGBTI communities, saying that governments need to respect the rights of these groupings of people. They also need to make it legal for the same-sex marriages and same-sexual relations to go on in their countries. Indeed, they said at least 70 countries in the world still consider it illegal and have laws that make it illegal for same-sex relations and also for LGBT people to associate freely in their countries. And so this issue has been discussed here at length, and we expect that it is one of the resolutions that will be coming up tomorrow when the meeting comes to an end.
Please wrap up what happened, the highlights of what happened yesterday.
Well, yesterday the meeting opened with a pledge from Kenya's President Uhuru Kenyatta that his country is committed to ending female genital mutilation in 3 years, that is by 2022. Remember, the United Nations has set a global goal of ending female genital mutilation and other harmful traditional practices by 2030. So indeed, if Kenya manages to do it, there will be 8 years ahead of the set deadline. And Kenyatta is saying that even if the country ends it, they will still have to work with neighbors, talking about signatures that have been put with Tanzania, Tanzania, Uganda, and Somalia, countries that also practice female genital mutilation. And so that if a girl leaves Kenya, where it is now illegal, they cannot be able to cross over to Tanzania and be able to procure female genital mutilation. Other issues that came out is that the United Nations is saying human rights, women's rights are not negotiable. And so they're urging countries gathered here to make a commitment to reduce the number of women who die when they're giving life, that is maternal mortality. They're also asking them to ensure that the girl child is able to complete at least 12 years of education. That means that if a child, and they're saying that if a girl child stays longer in school, then they will be able to, countries will be able to have women who are more educated and women who can make the proper choices. Choice is one of the main words that is being used here, giving women a choice to decide when they want to have their children, giving women a choice to even have abortions, which is still illegal in many countries, including here in Kenya, giving women a choice to have contraceptives. There is also another word that was used a lot yesterday, actually a number. They're talking about zero. So zero maternal deaths, zero need for zero to ensure that no woman is looking for family planning services and cannot be able to get it, and zero traditional harmful practices, and also zero gender-based violence. In other words, they're saying every woman should be able to live freely, free of physical violence, emotional violence, or any other type of violence, including sexual violence.
Sarah, certainly here in South Africa, government is facing a rising human population growth, where the government is really grappling with how to raise the economy to accommodate this rising population. What are the different, especially African countries, what issues do they have in terms of population growth and the attendant issues that come with it?
Immediately after we leave this session, we're actually going to be attending a session on demographic dividend in the Sahel region. Very important because the Sahel region is one of the regions that have been affected, one by immigration issues of young men leaving the countries and drowning in the Mediterranean Sea, trying to seek better lives abroad. So we also have issues of terrorism. We have issues of schools being closed for longer periods because of extremism and all that kind of issues. So they are discussing issues of 22 million young Africans entering the job market every year and only 3 million managing to get jobs. So they will be discussing how then do governments create more jobs, how do they create opportunities for young people to employ themselves without having to risk their lives crossing the borders. Now, South Africa is among the countries that will be attending that session. We understand that Minister in the Office of the Presidency, Jackson Mthembu, will be giving a keynote address talking about what exactly South Africa is doing to create more jobs and also to accommodate other young people who are coming into South Africa in search of jobs and opportunities.
All right, what other conversations can we expect to be taking place as the conference progresses?
Yes, indeed, we expect that South Africa will also be chairing a session on sexual reproductive health rights and comprehensive sex education in schools. Also a very controversial issue both at home in South Africa and also here at the meeting, with a lot of religious leaders saying that there needs to be a definition of exactly what is comprehensive sex education. They are arguing that it is likely that if governments are left to decide what comprehensive sex education is, then family values are going to be eroded. But yesterday, when we were speaking to Minister Mthembu, he was talking about equal rights for everybody. And he was also talking about the challenges that the continent faces. Take, for example, Kenya here, at least 500,000 young girls are getting pregnant every year. And so they're saying, if we do not talk to the young girls now, if we do not provide them with the information that they need now, then there are other areas that they will get it. They're saying that a lot of them are getting their information on the internet, and most of the time this information is even worse than the comprehensive sex education that they are likely to get if governments agree to integrate it in the current syllabuses of schools across the continent.
Sarah, as we close off our conversation, just give us a sense of public interest, especially global interest in this conference. It seems like a lot of people have come through.
Yes, indeed. We have 6,000 delegates drawn from at least 165 countries. And the issues that are being discussed are also very central. The continent has at least 50% women. And so we are talking about half of the population of the world. And so what they're saying here is, as long as women are marginalized, as long as the issues of women and girls are put to the back burner, then the world will not move forward. Indeed, yesterday during the opening session, it was very clear from the speakers that for us to be able to meet all the other sustainable development goals, then we must meet the sustainable development goal number 5, which talks about equal rights for women and equal rights for girls. And so this meeting, the interest that you see it is generating globally is because those people attending here understand the importance that we as women hold on the continent and actually in the world.
So much for that update. Sarah Kimani is coming to us from the Population and Development Conference currently underway in Nairobi. Let's take